Hey, Flo here again. Found another spot to do a Bible reading. Also not good enough for live streaming, but stupid, why did they put that under the tripod? Alright, not good enough signal for a live stream, so let's do some more pre-recorded stuff. I don't know if I'll have any spots today that have good signal. This is a bonus destination, not really somewhere I sort of thought I might come here, but it wasn't really. It's not the main destination, that's for sure. I don't know how stable this rock is. Looks relatively stable, but it also looks like it might be fractured. Ooh. Not very comfortable either. Okay. All right. You can probably see how smoky it is. It's pretty bad, so I'm not going to see nearly as awesome of a view as I should, but still it'll be a fun hike. I'm just glad to get out. So we're going to be reading Joshua 12 to 15 and Matthew 28. If I can get comfortable, that is. How did that happen? Oh, so annoying. This rock isn't quite big enough. That's a little better. Joshua chapter 12. Now these are the kings of the land whom the Israelites struck down and whose lands they took beyond the Jordan to the east, from the Arnon valley to Mount Hermon, including all the Arabah eastward. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon. He ruled from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon valley, along the middle of the valley, up to the Jabbok river, the border of the Ammonites, that is, half of Gilead, as well as the Arabah east of the Sea of Chinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, eastward through Beth Jeshimoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah. And Og, king of Bashan, one of the remnant of the Rephaim, who lived in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Salakah, all of Bashan up to the border of the Geshurites and the Maccathites, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites had struck them down and given their land as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered beyond the Jordan to the west, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir, according to the allotments to the tribes of Israel. Joshua gave them as an inheritance the hill country, the foothills, the Arabah, the slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev, the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is near Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimron, Miron, 1. The king of Akshaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam in Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in Naphath Dor, 1. The king of Goim in Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. So there were 31 kings in all. Joshua chapter 13. Now Joshua was old and well along in years, and the Lord said to him, You are old and well along in years, but very much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the territory of the Philistines and all the territory of the Philistines and the Geshurites, from the Shihor east of I can't say these words today. From the Shihor east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, considered to be Canaanite territory, that of the 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, as well as that of the Avites. To the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Mearah of the Sidonians to Aphek, as far as the border of the Amorites, the land of the Gibeonites, and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo Hamath, all the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Misrephoth Maim, all the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Misrephoth Maim, all the Sidonians, I myself will drive out before the Israelites. Be sure to divide it by lot as an inheritance to Israel, as I have commanded you. Now therefore divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The other half of Manasseh, along with the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance Moses had given them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses the servant of the Lord had assigned to them. The area from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the Ammonites. Also Gilead and the territory of the Geshurites and the Maccathites, all of Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salakah, the whole kingdom of Og and Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei, and had remained as a remnant of the Rephaim. Moses had struck them down and dispossessed them. But the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites or the Maccathites. So Geshur and Maacath dwell among the Israelites to this day. To the tribe of Levi, however, Moses had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, just as he had promised them. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the tribe of Reuben. The territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, to the whole plateau beyond Medeba, to Heshbon and all its cities on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth Baal, Beth Baal Meon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Zereth Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, all the cities of the plateau, and all the kingdom of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, until Moses killed him, and the chiefs of Midian, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the princes of Sihon, who lived in the land. The Israelites also killed the diviner Balaam son of Beor, along with the others they put to the sword. And the border of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the clans of the Reubenites, including the cities and villages. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the tribe of Gad. The territory of Jazer, all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the Ammonites as far as Aroer, near Reba. The territory from Heshbon to Ramath Mizpeh, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Debir. And in the valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the kingdom of Sihon king of Heshbon, the territory on the east side of the Jordan, up to the edge of the sea of Chinnereth. This was the inheritance of the clans of the Gadites, including the cities and villages. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to the tribe of the descendants of Manasseh. The territory from Mahanaim through all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og king of Bashan, including all the towns of Jair that are in Bashan, 60 cities. Half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, the royal cities of Og and Bashan. All this was for the clans of the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, that is, half of the descendants of Machir. These were the portions Moses had given them on the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho. To the tribe of Levi, however, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, just as he had promised them. Joshua chapter 14. Now these are the portions that the Israelites inherited in the land of Canaan, as distributed by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the families of the tribes of Israel. Their inheritance was assigned by lot for the 9.5 tribes. As the Lord had commanded through Moses. For Moses had given the inheritance east of the Jordan to the other 2.5 tribes, but he granted no inheritance among them to the Levites. The descendants of Joseph became 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and no portion of the land was given to the Levites, except for cities in which to live, along with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites did as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they divided the land. Then the sons of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said to him, You know what the Lord said to Moses the man of God at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses the servant of the Lord sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought back to him an honest report. Although my brothers who went with me made the hearts of the people melt with fear, I remained loyal to the Lord my God. On that day Moses swore to me, saying, Surely the land on which you have set foot will be an inheritance to you and your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. Now behold, as the Lord promised, He has kept me alive these 40 years since. He spoke this word to Moses, while Israel wandered in the wilderness. So here I am today, 85 years old, still as strong today as I was the day sent me out. Still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. As my strength was then, so it is now for war, going As my strength was then, so it is now for war, for going out and for coming in. Now therefore give me this hill country that the Lord promised me on that day. For you yourself heard then that the Anakim were there, with great and fortified cities. Perhaps with the Lord's help I will drive them out, as the Lord has spoken. Then Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. Therefore Hebron belongs to Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, as an inheritance to this day, because he wholly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land had rest from war. Joshua chapter 15. Now the allotment for the clans of the tribe of Judah extended to the border of Edom, to the wilderness of Zin, at the extreme southern boundary. Their southern border started at the bay on the southern tip of the Salt Sea, proceeded south of the ascent of Akrabim, continued on to Zin, went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea, ran past Hezron up to Adar, and curved toward Karka. It proceeded to Asmon, joined the brook of Egypt, and ended at the sea. This was their southern border. The eastern border was the Salt Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern border started from the bay of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hoglah, proceeded north of Beth Arabah, and went up to the stone of Bohan son of Reuben, Then the border went up to Debir from the valley of Achor, turning north to Gilgal, which faces the ascent of Adumim, south of the ravine. It continued along the waters of En-Shemesh and came out at En-Rogel. From there the border went up the valley of Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusites, that is, Jerusalem, and ascended to the top of the hill that faces the valley of Hinnom on the west, at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From the hilltop the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, proceeded to the cities of Mount Ephron, and then bent around toward Bela, that is, Kiriath Jearim. The border curled westward from Bela to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Chesalon, went down to Beth Shemesh, and crossed to Timnah. Then it went out to the northern slope of Ekron, curved toward Shikharon, proceeded to Mount Bela, went on to Jabneel, and ended at the sea. And the western border was the coastline of the Great Sea. These are the boundaries around the clans of the descendants of Judah. According to the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion among the sons of Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. And Caleb drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak, the descendants of Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. From there he marched against the inhabitants of Debir, formerly known as Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, "To the man who strikes down Kiriath Sefer and captures it, I will give my daughter Aksah in marriage." So Othniel, son of Caleb's brother Kenaz, captured the city, and Caleb gave his daughter Aksah to him in marriage. One day Aksah came to Othniel and urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What do you desire?" "Give me a blessing," she answered. "Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me springs of water as well." So Caleb gave her both the upper and lower springs. This is the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Judah. These were the southernmost cities of the tribe of Judah in the Negev, toward the border of Edom: Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kina, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Bealoth, Hazor, Hadattah, Kiriath Hezron, that is, Hazor, Amam, Shema, Molada, Hazar Gada, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shaul, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziothia, Bela, Lim, Bela, Aim, Ezem, Eltolad, Chesil, Horma, Ziklag, Madmana, Sansana, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, 29 cities in all, along with their villages. These were in the foothills: Eshtau, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, En Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soka, Azekah, Sharaim, Adithaim, and Gedera, or Gederothaim, 14 cities along with their villages. Zenon, Hadeshah, Migdal Gad, Delan, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lamas, Chitlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Nema, and Makkedah, 16 cities along with their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Kala, Akzib, and Marashah, 9 cities along with their villages. Ekron with its towns and villages. From Ekron to the sea, all the cities near Ashdod along with their villages. Ashdod with its towns and villages. Gaza with its towns and villages, as far as the brook of Egypt and the coastline of the Great Sea. These were in the hill country: Shamir, Jatir, Sokah, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtamo, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities along with their villages. Arab, Duma, Ishan, Janin, Beth Tapua, Aphekah, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities along with their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Juta, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Janoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities along with their villages. Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Marath, Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 cities along with their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Reba, 2 cities along with their villages. These were in the wilderness: Beth Araba, Madin, Midin, Sekeka, Nibshan, the city of salt, and Engedi, and Engedi, 6 cities along with their villages. But the descendants of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites living in Jerusalem, so to this day the Jebusites live there among the descendants of Judah. Oh man, those names are impossible to pronounce. I'm sure I got most of them wrong, but I'll edit out the repeated ones, just trying different pronunciations because I'm not really sure. Matthew chapter 28. After the Sabbath, at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. Suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, rolled away the stone, and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards trembled in fear of him and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. See, I have told you." So they hurried away from the tomb in fear and great joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." They came to him, grasped his feet, and worshipped him. "Do not be afraid," said Jesus. "Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." While the women were on their way, some of the guards went into the city and reported to the chief priests all that had happened. And after the chief priests had met with the elders and formed a plan, they gave the soldiers a large sum of money and instructed them, "You are to say, 'His disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep.' If this report reaches the governor, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So the guards took the money and did as they were instructed. And this account has been circulated among the Jews to this very day. Meanwhile, the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain Jesus had designated. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey all that I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, even to the end of the age." All right. Okay, so I have 2 more readings to catch up to where I accidentally did that later reading because my reading plan was messed up for a minute earlier. I think I can manage to do 2 more readings out here somewhere. Oh, ouch. I'm not going to do more here though because heading up to a fairly significant mountain, and I'm hoping there will be some really nice views along the way. There might even be like a place with an actual signal. No real signal here, just barely enough to do the slide changes. But I think this would be a nice, decent place if the smoke wasn't so bad. It's not so bad that it's like bothering my lungs or anything, it's just that it kind of ruins the view a little bit. I'm probably going to continue heading over this way. Unfortunately, I don't think the view continues much. Looks like I have to go back into the trees, but oh well. Anyway, I'm going to end this stream, and I'll probably do more readings a little bit later if I find good spots to do it. But thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.